Welcome to the Forgotten ECE, the show where before and after school educators, summer camp and PD staff, and CYWs have a place where they are seen, heard, and valued. I'm your host, Jamie Wagler, and I am so excited you're here. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Forgotten ECE. I'm so happy you're tuning in today because I have a special guest for you. With me today, I have Annalisa Vicente. Hi, Annalisa.
Hello. Thank you so much, Jamie, for having me.
So Annalisa is a wife and proud mother of two amazing boys. She is an early childhood educator and a motherhood coach. Annalisa is a passionate maternal mental health advocate, and she is determined to break the stigma around mental health by normalizing vulnerability. Her journey has been deeply enriched by her work with children with diverse needs and their families, teaching her the profound impact of resilience and compassionate care. Annalisa's mission is to inspire women in the community through meaningful connections and creative expression to strengthen their self-compassion so that they feel seen, heard, and heal. What an empowering mission that you're on.
Oh, thank you. It's definitely been a journey for sure of self-discovery and also finding out my purpose and my passion in life. And I feel like, this is my era. Really become the person I want to be, not just in my business, but in my life. And so thank you for this opportunity. When you asked me to come on, I was so happy because I really felt so connected to you when I first met you. And when you came to the book launch, it was just so heartwarming to see your presence there.
Oh, you're so sweet. Honestly. No, I am a strong believer that we meet people for a reason. And I know I met you for a reason. And this very well be it because what you're doing is so incredible. And women need this in their lives for sure, for sure.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
So why don't you tell us a bit on how you got started as a life coach and what made you decide this?
Yeah. Well, I came at a crossroads. I've been with the school board for a little over, I guess it would have been 11 years at that time. And I felt like I really wanted to do more in my community and in my life too. I loved working with children. I think working for the school board was such a great experience for the most part. Obviously, every work has their challenges and stuff like that. But what really propelled me further was actually seeing my friend. I think you know her, Kathleen. Yeah, I don't know. I came across her Instagram and I think she was doing a live and she was talking about how she was becoming a coach. And I was like, oh, what is this? Because initially, prior to that, I had applied to a master's program in social work. I had filled out the application. I did all the things I had to do. And then I got the rejection letter. And I was just so shocked. I'm like, hey, my grades were really good and I have so much experience in human services. Why not? And it was a really competitive program. They couldn't really give me the exact reason why I wasn't admitted. But I was like, this was a turning point in my life where that rejection email turned into a blessing because I knew I didn't want to go back to school for the next, 7 years of my life because I did want to, work in the mental health realm. But I wanted to think of creative ways that I could still help women at that time or help people in general without having, a PhD or whatnot in psychology or whatever. And so, I just kind of went down this rabbit hole of what coaching is, specifically life coaching, because I was like, what is this? I just found it kind of weird that people would hire other people, to coach them in their life. And I joined a really great program that trains coaches based on the ICF, International Coaching Federation. It's basically the gold standard of coaching. If you become certified with the ICF, there's more credibility, there's more training. And I really wanted that training because I was like, if I'm going to help change people's lives, I would love to learn how to do that and not just kind of wake up and be like, I'm going to be a coach.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it right.
It's such a saturated industry right now. It's definitely booming. A lot of people are getting into coaching, even doctors and all this. And what really drew me to coaching was being in the program, learning the skill set, getting the training, practicing coaching and coaching with other people. It really transformed my life. the slogan of my program or my school was the first life you change is your own. And that's really what happened there. And I knew I needed to pick a niche. Not that I needed to, but I wanted to. And because I was having such a hard time in like the postpartum period and, juggling two young kids under the age of 3, I really dove in and was like, I really want to help moms. I want to support not just new moms, but moms that are feeling overwhelmed, struggling with the guilt, the perfectionism, the overgiving, because those are the things that I really struggled with too. And I think at times I still do, but I really made it my mission because I was spoken to so many mothers and it's the same thread. It's like, I'm overwhelmed, but I just have to accept this. This is what I wanted. And sometimes what we want isn't always, Pinterest perfect or Instagram ready. And it's just, I had to learn the hard way, I think. And so that's what brought me to becoming a motherhood coach, call myself that, because I was like, I saw somebody else that had labeled themselves as that. And I was like, I like that because it's really what I do. I help moms through the journey of motherhood and like finding themselves, their identity and their worth again.
Wow, that's so incredible. And it's such an important aspect. I know like with my motherhood journey, I think I did really well with the first, looking back now, I don't know. But like with my mental health after, and then with the second, I found it really, really hard. Not only did I mourn that loss of like, you're no longer inside of me because I was blessed enough to be able to carry my kids, but then all these fears were overwhelming about what the future is going to look like and what happens if they're bullied. And this was as they were like little baby infants. And then now that they're school agers, it's like every day I'm constantly worried about how they're doing at school. I'm constantly worried about if they're making good choices or if people are being mean to them or if they're going to do okay and are they going to go to college? Are they going to get careers? Are they going to be stuck in this recession? It's just constant worry. And there's no book of life to tell you how to do this. No one, what to expect when you're expecting doesn't give you all of the information that we think we need. There's things that happen that I was never prepared for. And I think having someone like as amazing as you to guide people through that, or even like a shoulder to talk to and express these needs and then have you help them through this, like that's incredible. That's such great work.
Thank you. I really appreciate those kind words because, yeah, that's exactly it. Like nothing ever prepares you for motherhood. Like I remember, being pregnant and like reading all the articles and like buying the apps and like, tracking, oh, my baby is the size of a grapefruit. And it's just like, okay. Like it was fun in that sense of being pregnant, feeling like literally your baby growing inside you. And then, when you give birth, the postpartum period is such a scary, exhausting time. And then, when they get older, like my son is in kindergarten now, and it was really tough. Like, it's funny because when I was in ECE, like, I'm being really honest and transparent here right now. I used to judge parents that had the quote unquote troubled child. I was like, what's happening at home? What are the parents doing? Like, why is their child like this? And then when you have a child that is labeled as the quote unquote, I mean, they never said this, but like the problem child, like I was always getting pulled aside at the end of the day. Oh, can I talk to you? Some things, so-and-so, this happened. And it's just like, I don't think we give the kids the benefit of the doubt. Like, especially kindergarten is such a huge transition for a child, especially if they haven't been in a school environment before. And so it's like trying to use my ECE to kind of advocate for my son and say like, listen, can we just give him some grace here? Because it's September. Like, I don't know what you are really expecting of him. And so it was tough. And I totally hear you about as they get older, like, are they going to make good choices? Are their friends going to be, good role models? Because there's so many things out of our control. Because when they're a baby, we get to we have that control over when they eat, who they're with, like how we take care of them, how, we teach others to, raise our child. I mean, it's never like that, but it's, just that reality that we can't always protect our kids. And it's scary, but it's also just like giving them or teaching them not right way, but like teaching them the values that you really believe in and hoping that they make the right choices.
Yes, absolutely. And you said a couple of things there, like kindergarten, 100%, like expectations are so hard for children in kindergarten. Especially if they're not coming from any kind of childcare before, but even if they are coming from childcare before, they're going from usually a play-based curriculum to all of a sudden, yes, there's some play in kindergarten, but not nearly enough. And then there's 30 kids stuffed into a classroom with one teacher and one early child educator. It's like, what? How are you ever? I was told, oh, it's so disheartening. I was told in my son's first year of kindergarten that at parent-teacher meetings that I asked how he was doing and if he was adjusting well to school, and they said, "Well, he's not the worst child, so he seemed fine." I was like, "So he has to be the worst child for you to pay attention to him?" And I get it. And I don't get me wrong, I loved his teacher, and I still talk to her, but it's just a broken system. And now he's definitely labeled a problem child, like wholeheartedly. I get called into the school all of the time, and I'm a huge advocate at the school, but it's like, gosh, when he's just active, and when he's active or rowdy outside, making him stand against the wall isn't going to help that. He needs to get his energy out before he goes back into school. Or like, anyways, I'm going off on a tangent, but the children are just there's so many challenges that parents face because then they feel like they have to take on these challenges by themselves while also advocating for their kids. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you see moms facing when it comes to balancing their own well-being and then supporting their school-age child?
It's funny because that's such a simple question, but it's such a loaded layer question. Taking care of ourselves is, I think, the hardest thing because we were conditioned and we were raised to be that nurturer, be, the caregiver, the super mom that nothing phases her and she knows it all. And I think the truth is that we act like we know it all, and I think also people expect us to know it all, but we really don't. We're kind of just using our best judgment and using the resources that we have to, keep our children thriving in a system that I do agree is broken. Private school rates have apparently risen. I was speaking to a friend about that. A lot of people want to homeschool their kids. I know there's like nature schools now, which is amazing. But I think especially with boys, I think there's a lot of pressure on young boys in the school age demographic where it's just like they're told to sit down, sit still. Is it a can't attitude or is it a won't attitude? Because I think especially when they're young, like they have such high levels of, testosterone that they physically literally can't sit still. That's what I learned is that like they have so much energy that they need to expel. Like that's why some boys run around the classroom because like that's how they regulate their emotional or their nervous system. And it's just so sad because if teachers really understood early childhood development, the expectations would be so different. And I think we'd treat our students with so much more compassion than we do. It was tough, yeah, working with some teachers that didn't believe that they're like, no, this is how school should be. This is how our students should be. But I think we need to reframe that and say, like, how can we give these children an opportunity, like, for autonomy? And yes, I think there does need to be like rules and structure and all that, but it's really trying to see the child as a unique person, not just like a robot that follows instructions, sits down, eats lunch, stands against the wall, or, listens right away. Like people don't function like that. Adults don't function like that. You tell an adult to do something, like most of the time you might get people that are compliant, but kids are still learning about the world. And I think, again, like you said, the school system is broken. I think there's a lot of different expectations coming from high up. And like, there's some teachers that are just giving up. I know so many teachers that are leaving the school system. And I think it's just a reflection of how things are changing.
Yeah, I know this is a podcast, so you can't see my face, but it's so disheartening in a way because it's not the teachers that should be leaving that are leaving. It's good teachers who are trying and trying and trying but are tired of having to advocate for themselves and for the students and not getting anywhere. But you're absolutely right when you said like we're not training our children to be robots. This isn't back in the day when we trained children to be factory workers. This is 2025. The curriculum has to change. It has to meet the needs of children, and it's not doing that. We're still doing standardized testing. We're still doing these things and assessing children on math, English, and whatever else. And it's not the thing. It's not the things that are important. For crying out loud, we have computers and calculators and chat GPT and Pinterest. We don't need We don't need robots. What we need is children to be kind, to care about the world, to care about each other, and to actually find their place. And that's not what's happening in school right now. And then on top of that, so parents are having to deal with all of this and then having to deal with their children coming home and being burnt out and being upset and distraught and not wanting to go to school. There's so many parents right now that their children are having such a hard time going to school in the morning, and it's a battle. And how do you manage that? So I'm going to ask you two questions now. How is a parent or how is a mom supposed to take care of themselves while also being there and being a support to their children?
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't answer that in your first question because I don't really have to. Yeah, let me talk about that because I grew up believing that, yeah, a mom is supposed to put her family first. I think that's a religious, cultural, societal expectation. It's really unlearning that because what I'm learning, I had to learn this stuff when I experienced postpartum depression and anxiety with my second son, is that I need to take care of myself first. And that means choosing myself first. And that's not selfish, I think, in motherhood. I think that's like essential for your overall well-being. That's mentally, physically, because I was always choosing my family, my kids first. I was like, oh, I'll go for a walk later. I'll read that book tonight. I'll go for a workout. You know what? Just later. I kept saying later, and later never came. And then I just got really sad most of the time. I was also really resentful and angry towards not just my kids, my spouse. And it trickles down into the family. When we put ourselves last, when we don't take time for ourselves, it affects not just our own well-being, but our children's well-being too. Last year, I experienced burnout. And it's funny because I had quit my job to prevent burnout because I was like, oh, I'm going to juggle my business and motherhood. It'll be great. I'll have so much time. And it ended up being the opposite. Like I was trying to be this like perfect mom and like be present with my kids all the time and also try to do like grow my business. And it wasn't meshing well. We also had moved at the time. And so there's so many different hats I was wearing and I just couldn't do it anymore. And I thought I could because I thought I could be that mom that, those like, mom influencers that this is what I do in a day. And it's just like, whose day looks like that? Because it's not realistic. And like, I know social media is like mostly an illusion, but it's just, you strive for that because like you see that everywhere. Like you see it in movies, you see it on TV, commercials, where it's just like, you're perfectly manicured, but you're doing it all and you're happy. And the reality is that I think doing it all just made me really bitter and angry and exhausted and overwhelmed. And I really had to ask myself, actually, my friend asked me this. She's like, what does Annalisa need right now? And I paused and I couldn't even come up with an answer. And I knew that was my breaking point, that I didn't even know what I needed anymore. And I had to make a quick shift and kind of just like really put my business on the back burner and refocus on getting better, getting more sleep, getting outside, walking, moving my body, and talking about the burnout that I was feeling because I was really internalizing everything. And so when I started getting better, I noticed I was more present. I wasn't bitter and angry anymore. I wasn't lashing out on my kids or my family, but it was a tough road to kind of bounce back from that and like, facilitating workshops on self-care. And it's just this kind of like full circle moment because when you're in it, you don't realize what you're going through because it's just, you're so deep into it, but it's definitely possible. But I think it first takes like self-awareness and acceptance that it is happening because I was really trying to prevent that. So yeah, I think when the mom thrives, like the family thrives as well. And I've seen that like firsthand because it happened to me recently last year. So yeah, it's a real thing to take care of ourselves first because it's not selfish. And I know a lot of women will be like, oh no, family first. Like, your kids come first. It's like, no, you come first. And it's a hard pill to swallow, I think, for some of us, but it's so important.
Wow. Yeah. First and foremost, thank you so much for being so vulnerable here today. I think it's the only way that people are going to hear what you're saying and hear what we're talking about, what we're advocating about is when they hear the real life thing. And I super appreciate you doing that here and being that vulnerable. you said a couple of things that resonated with me. First and foremost, that you're right. Self-care is not selfish. And we hear it all the time, but then it's brushed off with go get a manicure, go get your eyebrows done, go for a facial. It's just not, that's not what self-care is. Self-care is listening to your body. It's sleeping in if you have the chance to sleep in, or it's taking a freaking nap. Okay. There's nothing wrong with taking a nap on a day that you can take a nap. But oh, so many things you said resonated with me. I agree. I think that moms are put on, or soul parents are put on this pedestal, and it is shown everywhere how picture perfect their lives are. I mean, if you look what's trending right now on TikTok, I mean, I guess it's been a year, but like mom talk was trending, and it's like no one is like that. I'm so sorry if for some reason you're listening to this, but no one has a life like that. It's just not realistic, and people have to work hard, and they have to juggle all of these things, and it's absolutely impossible to do everything. There's something giving somewhere, and if you can't see it, it's probably yourself. Probably your health. It's not like there's these crazy signs coming. I just imagine, like, because I'm a 90s kid, I imagine Roadrunner running down the road, and all these warning signs. There's no warning sign saying burn out ahead, burn out ahead. It comes, and all of a sudden you realize that you're living this life, and that it doesn't even feel like you anymore. It's not what you were meant to do. It's not who you thought you were going to be. It's just, and you don't even recognize the person looking in the mirror, or when you're talking to your children and the words that you're saying, you don't recognize it anymore. You're like, no, I know this is not how I should be talking to them. And wow, yeah, it's hard. And it's so important that people hear that there's a community out there, and there's people out there to help them, because it doesn't have to be like this.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be like this. And I think as moms, we blame ourselves like, oh, I should be working out. Oh, I should read that book. It's all the shoulds.
Mm-hmm.
The shoulds are really not ours to own. It's like the expectations that have been put on us from, cultural, religion, and society. And I really don't think our system is built to support moms right now. I think it's still very much, the mom is the default parent, and it's the invisible load, really. I started learning about the invisible load just these past 2 years. I'm like, oh my God, there's a name for it. So I thought it was just like me, like these expectations, the invisible work that moms do. Like you were mentioning in the beginning, like the planning, the worrying, the delegating, the parent that's being pulled aside, because most of the times it's not the dad that's being pulled aside or being called at 12 noon. Oh, so your son did this today. It's like, well, he also has a dad, so
Call
like
him.
calling me. But it's just like, yeah, even when I was working with a school board, I was always calling the mom. Mind you, there were 2 parents on the list, but it was always like, mom is the first call. Like, you always call mom first, and then you call dad if you can't contact mom. And so it's just these unrealistic expectations that are put on moms, on parents in general, that you have to be the gentle parent, but you also have to like teach them leadership and like innovation and like all this stuff. And it's just like, we can't do it in like the society that we're living in right now. We live in such a divided world right now, I think. There's so much judgment and criticism and hate going on. And it's like, how can we come back to like the values of kindergarten, where it's like, everybody feels included, everybody feels welcomed and heard. And it's not the reality, unfortunately. I mean, I hope things change. I don't know, but I think it starts with us. Like it starts at home. Again, teaching those values, whatever values you have, like instilling that in your child so that they eventually can make good choices. I mean, you hope so. I was speaking to this doctor. She's a perinatal psychiatrist, and as part of a support group I was part of. And she mentioned that, children, we're not carpenters, and we're not carving our children out of wood. She's like, we are gardeners. Our children are our flowers, and we shower them with love, and we, provide them with warmth and sunshine. And how she described it was so beautiful, because it's like a farmer has no control over how their crops or their garden grows. You just will give it water, sun, and air, and you just hope for the best. Because with, when you're a carpenter, you're trying to like mold your child into what you think it should be and how they should act. And it's just, when she said that, I was like, oh my God, that's such a beautiful like metaphor for like raising children, because it's so true. We only have control over, how much we love them, how much support we give them, autonomy as well. But it's tough. It's not easy.
Wow, I love that. Yeah. Wow. That really getting a little emotional. It's so true. Like you can pour so much of yourself into your children. And in the end, at the end of the day, who they're gonna be is who they're gonna be. It's not gonna make a difference if I pick them up from school or their dad picks them up from school or which parent picks them up from school. It's not gonna make a difference. You make the right choices and you do the right things and you model the way you're supposed to. But in the end, there's still people and they're still going to face the world the way they are. You talk a lot about modeling and like resilience and emotional regulation for moms and taking care of their self first. So, how can moms model resilience and emotional regulation for their school age children to then learn from?
I think it's like learning how to label emotions properly. In learning about like emotional intelligence and emotion in general, like there's more than like the standard sad, angry, nervous and all that stuff. There's apparently, can't remember Brene Brown said, but like over 70 different actual emotions. And not that we have to teach our kids all of these emotions, but I think it's just being really honest with your kids about how you're feeling and learning to repair the relationship when you do get angry, when you do get mad or you say something that you regret. Because I think we're all human at the end of the day and we're going to make mistakes and we're going to say things that we probably didn't mean, especially when we're feeling depleted, exhausted, or overwhelmed, like most moms do some of the time. So it's really understanding how you are feeling in the moment and then kind of repairing the relationship after. Just really opening the conversation about, mom was feeling really upset. I'm really sorry that I yelled, or I'm really sorry that I said that. I really didn't mean it. Like, do you forgive me? Because I think saying sorry to your child is a huge opportunity and learning lesson for them that, oh, okay, like mom can get mad, but she can also, take accountability for her behavior, take responsibility for her behavior, and they know that they're loved. I think that's the most important thing is that I'm constantly, not that I'm like always yelling at my kids, but like I'm okay with apologizing to them and saying that I messed up. I lost control or like I was really upset. I didn't mean to yell, but, really being honest with them and not sugarcoating feelings or trying to suppress feelings either. Because I find when the rage comes out, it's usually because we're suppressing our emotions and how we're feeling in that moment or, how we were feeling 3 days ago. So all those things kind of fester when we don't give ourselves the freedom or the peace to just feel really uncomfortable in those uncomfortable feelings like anger, sadness, or frustration. I mean, it's tough. It takes practice. But I think emotional regulation is something that as adults, we also need to like work on. Because I think if you're not an ECE or if you're not not necessarily trained in emotional intelligence, but if you don't know how to label your own emotions, it's definitely something that is beneficial. Yeah, I mean, it's just again like remembering that you're human and that there is no bad emotion. Like you're allowed to feel how you feel in a way that you can model to your own kids that it's okay to have these feelings. And then you kind of, have a conversation about what's okay to do when you're feeling a certain way and what's not okay. So that's a huge piece too.
Yeah, like everything you're saying is so eye-opening, but also like I as an educator, I also try like as an educator and a mom, it's funny because growing up, I was definitely a Mandy's kid. Okay. And these things we didn't do. If I was frustrated as a kid, and don't get me wrong, I love my parents, but if I was frustrated as a kid, I was not allowed to scream and shout or cry. And there was definitely no, it's okay if you're feeling upset. It was stop yelling at me, go to your room. Don't slam the door. I'm so sorry if you're listening, parents. Yeah, quick shout out to mom and dad. But I do like now I'm so aware of it, but also we have these moments and I'm like, I, I didn't mean to yell. No, it's okay that you're crying, but also stop crying. But no, it's fine. You're allowed to cry. I don't know. I want to cry too. But I think it's important because we're vulnerable. We're human. We feel these things too. And it's apologizing is huge, I think, because I grew up in a house that we didn't really apologize to each other. It was more we just forget about it, and all of a sudden the next day everything's magically back to normal, and there was no working through it. Um, and I find myself apologizing to my kids a lot because of how I say things or how I interpret things and not understanding properly. And it's just, I want them to know it's okay to be sorry. And that when I say I'm sorry, I'm not just saying it for them to feel better. I'm saying it because I sincerely feel sorry. And yeah, labeling the emotion. I quickly looked because I wanted to validate what you're saying. Brene Brown says there's 87 emotions. I don't even know. I might know 10. I have to look at that list, but yeah, like it's so hard as adults to navigate that. How are we supposed to help children navigate it? And absolutely, modeling is the way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I don't want to come off as like this calm, perfect mom here. Like, I've seen parts of myself that I never thought I would see. I think prior to having kids, people always say, "Oh, you're so calm and you're so great with the kids. And why are you so calm? And why are you so patient?" Well, like, it was just like, again, I think I was also partially suppressing emotions too at that time. Like, I obviously didn't want to, like, get super angry at the kids that I was working with or anything like that. I was always trying to be more patient and calm. But I think that's also, when you do become a parent, you get triggered by things that happened in your childhood and that are still kind of like unresolved feelings that you had. Like you said, like, you grew up in a house. I grew up in a household too that I never heard parents apologize. Yeah, like it's tough. Because, like, I think we always want to do better than the generation before. And so that in itself is a lot of mental, physical, emotional exhaustion in itself. Like trying to be the calm in your child's storm. Like unfortunately it's not realistic because children have big emotions all the time. And like, especially in that toddler phase, like there's a lot of it's just like a roller coaster every day of just like, what are we going to go through today? And so you hope as they get older that they learn how to calm themselves and how to talk about how they're feeling. Like, I remember it was like a funny story. Me and my husband were kind of like arguing and it was getting a bit heated. And then my son, who's 4, he comes between us and he's like, guys, come on, calm down. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's just take a breath. Calm down. And we both started laughing because I was just like, oh my God, our son is teaching us emotional regulation. But it was just like, at that moment, I was like, okay, I did something right there. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I did something right there for him to come to us and teach us, like, hey, calm down. I think it was so good. Like, he was like, calm down. And like, he was doing all the facial and the hand, how a teacher would do it. I was just like, it was just so funny. It was so cute. But like, it was that moment that I'm like, okay, he finally gets it. It's rewarding when it clicks and you're like, oh, I think I'm on the right path. Like,
Yeah, you're doing something right. It's like that the external validation. You're like, okay, cool, okay. One roadblock. Check. So we talked a lot tonight about like our feelings and emotions and just how to help children and parents navigate this. So, what advice do you have for moms who feel isolated or overwhelmed?
I think the first step is definitely to be aware that you do need help. Because I know for me, for so long, I wanted to prove to my family, my friends, to the world that I could do it, that I could take care of a newborn and a toddler at the same time. And I could take care of the house and I could be a good friend and a great mom and all these things. And then I couldn't. And I became, yeah, like super like engrossed in just trying to look perfect and be perfect, and it wasn't sustainable. And so unfortunate, but you sometimes have to hit rock bottom, and maybe not even rock bottom. You just kind of have to reach a point where you don't want to live in this pain and suffering anymore, and you reach out for help. Like the first thing I did was tell a very close friend. Like I was like, hey, I think like I'm really struggling. And if you're lucky enough to have that support system of even just one friend or a family member that you really trust and say like, I'm really struggling, I need help, then that's like the first thing is reaching out and not being afraid or ashamed to reach out. And I think for a long time, I didn't want to reach out because, again, I wanted to have this image that I could do it all with a smile on my face. So definitely reach out to somebody you love and trust, because the people that care about you will be there for you. And yeah, know that you're not alone. Like a lot of moms are feeling overwhelmed, and not just, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. I've talked to so many moms about how they're feeling about motherhood, and it's tough, and it breaks my heart to hear that they feel like they just have to accept that it's like that, or they feel like they can't talk to their partners about it. And when I finally started opening up to my husband how I was feeling, he was like, I didn't know. He's like, I didn't know. And so giving people a chance to also accept the help is the next step. So asking for it and then accepting it, because accepting is the hardest part too. It's like you want to say that you can do it all, but it's really, you can do it all for sure. It's just not sustainable because you will like break down. It's because your body will tell you anyway at some point that no, you need to take a break. So yeah, I would say asking for help and accepting is definitely the first step, and it just goes from there. It's based on, what you need and who can help you and the resources that are available. There are so many resources out there. A lot of organizations offer free support up to a certain age. But yeah, it's just really doing your research. Thank God for Google and like ChatGPT and like social media platforms, nonprofit organizations. There's so many things out there. It's just, I always talk about, I'm not like a sponsor or anything or affiliate with them, but like I always talk about 811, like that, the telehealth line, talking to a nurse. Like they have so many resources and they can help you find resources like within your community. So yeah, there is help out there for sure. And so I just want moms to know that there is help, or you can call me.
We'll give it at the end. Don't worry. But yes, but it's true. It's true. You're out here and if you have no one else to talk to, this is exactly what Annalisa does. So reach out to her. I really value that you said and accept it, because once you get to the point where you ask for help, it's one thing asking for help, but it's a whole other world when people are like, okay, I'll come pick your kids up. You can go for a shower. Or, okay, here, I'm coming over to do your laundry for you. Or I'm going to come do the dishes. Or here, I cooked you a meal. And then all of a sudden you feel bad. Like, no. I just want to talk about it. You don't actually have to help me. I'll figure it out myself. It's fine. No. I just had a moment. I don't, no. But it is accepting that help and learning that it's okay to accept help. I keep going back to the plane analogy that everyone talks about where, if you're getting a crash and the thing falls down, you have to do yourself first. But this is the moment. This right here is a real life moment when that it matters. You got to take care of yourself first, because your kids cannot learn from you if you're sick or if you are feeling so overwhelmed that you can't take care of yourself. So speaking of communities and finding support, a great way to find that is through other parents or in like as a community. But how can moms create a community or find support from other parents while also maintaining healthy boundaries? Because friend moms can also come with a whole other world of problems.
Yeah, I remember like, especially like, Facebook is so good at, you know, building communities. There's so many mom groups out there. To be honest, I don't really like most of the mom groups. Not that I don't like the moms in it or anything, but it's just sometimes there's a culture of just like a lot of judgment or like comparison that I don't appreciate. And so you kind of just, have to find your tribe, so and so, like, and it takes time because, sometimes you might not click with a mom or it might be cliquey, like they already have a group and you're kind of trying to like get into it.
It's school all over again.
Yeah, we're all in high school again. That's exactly what it is. It's just like, who are the popular kids? And so like, what's the popular group? But I think in reality, it's really just putting yourself out there more and kind of finding out who you can trust and who you can connect with. Because, ever since COVID, everybody's kind of in the online realm, and it's great because you're meeting so many people from all over the world or whatnot. But I think really literally putting yourself out there, like leaving your house, going to the park, like even going to the park and seeing other parents there. Like for me, I'm super awkward. Like I don't ever know how to like talk to people in the park, especially like other parents. Like I'll only talk to a parent if they talk to me first. But it's just like sometimes you kind of just need to take that chance, and you never know who you're going to meet. Like even at the mall or the library, like there's so many opportunities now to meet people. Like there's even, social events that you can go to. So yeah, it's really literally just leaving your house and getting out there and talking to people again. Like it sounds so simple, but I think most of us are so comfortable in our homes. And I have a lot of friends that just love to stay at home, and that's great. But I think if you do really want to build community, it starts in your community. Like you do have to leave your house and like mingle and talk to people. And if you do have a hard time with that, if you're an introvert or whatnot, like maybe ask a friend like to go with you to the park or to an event or something.
Yes, you need it, Jamie. My friend calls me a golden retriever because it doesn't matter where we are. I can make friends and I meet people. And I'm like, I was actually at this is a side note and just a pick me up story in the middle of our conversation. I was at a LCBO once. I don't drink a lot, okay, but I do enjoy wine sometimes. And there was a lady there, and we just started chatting. And then I was like, "You should come over for a drink." And I got back in the car, and my husband's like, "Stop inviting random people to our house. Like, you don't know these people." And I'm like, "You're so right. I don't know what I'm thinking." She wanted us to drink alone. I said that was a bad idea. We should just drink together. But like you're absolutely right. It's hard as introverts for sure to get out and out of their comfort zone and meet people. You're not always going to be you're not always going to be faced with obnoxious JBs in your life to reel you in. But yeah, when you meet these people and you make those connections, it's remembering that not everyone's perfect and that it's okay for you to give some of yourself away to this community or this support group, but also remember to keep some of you for you and hold those boundaries and make sure that you're getting some good out of it. Like you said, the Facebook groups are insane. Okay, to some of the things that happen on there, that you just want to be mindful of who you're giving your attention to and what conversations you're jumping into, because some are not worth your time.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And it's so easy to like type behind a screen and maybe if you are an introvert, start online, like, join like like a Facebook group or something like just to kind of get your toes in the water if you don't feel comfortable speaking to people that you don't know. But yeah, it really does take stepping out of your comfort zone to see what else is out there because there is so much opportunity to build connection with people. It's just, yeah, you do have to find that groove or whatever. So
They need to have like a Tinder for moms, like friend, Fred, not really my size.
yeah. And there's a thing called Peanut, and it's actually for moms. It's an app. It's called Peanut. And like you can meet moms in your community or like other moms. Yeah. I mean, I haven't joined, but my friend told me about it.
That sounds amazing. Okay, someone needs to join and then send me the details. I want to know if this is a thing. I guess I could technically join and figure it out, but okay, amazing. Okay, two more questions for you, and then I won't take any more of your time, but this is so amazing. First, as you could leave moms with one key message about the power of presence and self-care, or really anything, what would it be?
The power of presence and self care. I mean, it's going to sound cheesy, but like the present moment is all you have. We worry about the future, like what's going to happen, and then we dwell in the past. But it's just like what I'm really trying to practice in my own life is really being present, not thinking about the to do list, not worrying about if my son's going to fall off that chair, just literally like just trying to have fun. Like I forgot what it was like to be happy. I can just kind of be free and kind of like a child, like just feel like you can do anything. But really also not feeling guilty about taking time for yourself. So yeah, it's just a daily practice and I'm still working on it myself, but it's worth the effort to make that time for yourself, not because you have to or you should, but because you want to, because you want to be there for your kids in the way that you want to. Recovering from burnout was such a tall like hill to climb, but it was really trying to rediscover what I wanted, what I needed. And so when you're present, there is no worry. There is no like, oh, I should have done this or what do I need to do next? It's really like, how can I be in this moment and be at peace with what's going on right now? And it's easier said than done, but I think being really intentional with your time, your energy, and who you spend it with can make a huge difference in your life. And I've seen that with myself. I lost a few friends. I've gained a few friends. I've let go of things that are not worth my energy and time. And so it's really realizing what's most important in your life. Who do you want to spend it with? So yeah, I think that's
I think that's a great answer, and I don't think it was that cheesy at all. Yeah, and even in your self-care to be present in that moment, because I know it's hard when you're taking care of yourself or you're trying to make the right choices for you, then all of a sudden you start to feel guilty or your head's like, "What are my kids doing right now?" But it's trying to be present in those moments. And you're right, it feels so good to have fun again and like raw fun that has no expectations, like building a tower and it just falling down. And today, actually in my before and after school program and before school, they started playing Stella Ella Ola and I stopped everything I was doing and I went and I had to play. I was like, this is from my childhood. And it felt so fun. And I'm like, this is what life is about, is these moments. Oh, you're so right. My last question, and it's kind of a sum up, is how can these wonderful listeners connect with you and allow you to take them further into this and you introduce them to coaching and stuff, where can they find you at?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you again for this opportunity. I have a website. It's pretty much my name. So it's just annalisavicent.com. But I'm active on LinkedIn and Instagram at Annalisa_awakened.
I love your Instagram handle. It's so awesome. I was looking at it today as I'm working on the podcast stuff, and I'm like, what a great handle. Annalisa Awaken. Sorry, carry on.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that. You never know like how people feel. So I love that. Thank you so much for acknowledging that. But yeah, that's where you can find me. You'll find like funny content and like really soulful content and some sad content. But it's all like I'm just really trying to be honest about motherhood. And I'm really not trying to like make any moms feel ashamed of what they're going through or how they're feeling or what they're doing. Because I don't think moms are doing it wrong. I think we're just living in a system that doesn't support us in how we need to be supported. And so I want to be that support that I never got when I was kind of down in dumps and like really struggling to find peace and myself again. So yeah, that's what I hope my platform does. And I think I've done a good job so far on it. But yeah,
I would have to agree. I love your content. So definitely go check out Annalisa on Instagram, LinkedIn, or her website. Again, www.annalisavicente.com. I thank you so wholeheartedly, so much, Annalisa. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate your time. And for those of you who don't know, it is actually kind of late. So she stayed up for me. Thank you.
of course. No, thank you for this opportunity. So blessed to be on here and to know you. You're so awesome.
I feel the same. The feeling is mutual. Okay. The feeling is mutual. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Please go check out Annalisa's website. And if you like the episode or you have any comments, questions, please like and share. And I will see you next time on The Forgotten EC. Thank you, amazing listeners, for your support. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at MissJamie_RECE. Give a star rating and leave a review. Have something you want to hear about in relation to before and after school programs or full day summer camp? DM me or comment. Again, thank you so much and happy learning.